How would you like to be a photography assistant for me or work on my next commercial, music video, or fashion photo shoot? There's a way you can get hired by me, and there's actually a few positions. In this video, I'm going to tell you a little bit towards the end, not the end, but towards the end, how you can work with me. But first, I need you to know some of the protocol on set, and I'm going to go through this. It's inspired by one of the subscribers of this channel, and I'm going to refrain from saying her name just because for own privacy. And she just got a job. Here's what she wrote to me on DM on Instagram. And I'm going to read it to you, but you can read it yourself too. And then we're going to go through 6 steps that I told her you're going to do this to have a successful day. Hey Walid, this is a long shot, and you're probably not going to read this message. Bookmark that part, by the way. And I'm a longtime follower and admirer of your work. And I was wondering if I could steal 5 minutes of your day by asking you a piece of advice. You're not stealing anything because I'm giving to you, and I'm happy to give to you in the community. So she says, I'm assisting on set as a second assistant for the camera team tomorrow for the first time ever. I'm very excited, so am I for you, and slightly nervous, and so am I for you. And I was wondering if you could give me some tips on advice, or I'm not even sure exactly what they expect from my position on set. So let's pause for a second. A long shot to read this. Nah, I'm not that guy. I actually have been doing this for about 7 years for the community, and really I was one of the first ones to do this. So I believe in uplifting everybody, and we just all rise with the tide. So yeah, I'm going to read your message. I'm going to reply to it. And not only am I going to thoughtfully reply to it, I'm going to make a video, this video right here, and I'm going to make sure that the rest of the community gets to learn also. So let's talk about how you're going to work for me, with me on one of my sets. Yeah, it's a paid position. I need to tell you 6 quick tips, and then let's get to how you're going to get hired. Having hired a lot of assistants, personal, on-set, professional, production assistants, all around, I have everything you need. So let's go. All right, first of all, let me show you again what she wrote on screen. And then for about like 3, 4, 5 seconds, we're going to put what I responded to her. But I'm also going to do you one better. We're going to go through every single bullet point, and I'm going to tell you maybe even a little anecdote with it, a little story, some more examples, so you can learn and you can have success also. All right. So point number 1 is confess your freshness. I can smell from like 10 miles away who is brand new and who is pretending to be bigger than they are. And it's such a major turnoff, and I'll tell you why, okay? So this is what you're going to say first on set. Hey, thanks so much for bringing me on board. I'm newer to being on set, but I'm a quick learner. And if you need to tell me to do something, if you need to correct how I'm doing something, please do not hold back. I'm here to do a great job and help you. So I just want to have the most use today for you. This is why I love this, is that you are owning up to being brand new. To get to where I'm at, to get to where a lot of other directors and photographers are at, you have to have had started somewhere. And the bulk of us are going to remember this, and we're going to remember where we were, and we want you to do well. When you pretend to be bigger than, more experienced than, and you say, oh, I've been on at least a dozen sets before, I expect you to bring the experience of someone that has been on a dozen sets. And if you mess up, you will not be coming back. You'll constantly get downgraded throughout the day, demoted, I should say, and then you're not going to be coming back to any of my sets, nor will I recommend you to any of my friends' sets. But if you were to tell me on the flip side, hey, I'm new, but I'm eager and I learn quick, I'm going to be your cheerleader, and I'm going to support you, and I'm going to try to mentor you or have someone else mentor you on set. The difference is intention, the difference is honesty and just transparency, and the difference is the person paying you, hiring you, cheering you on, are looking at you like a target. Point number 2 is get the recipe. Okay, so this is what I would say to get this recipe. What would a successful job look like to you? Now, you have to give me 4 seconds of this, because first, if I give you the exact recipe for how I want you to behave during the day, what I expect from you, there's no way you're going to mess up. You're like, okay, so Walid or whoever hires you says, I need you to do this. I need you to be here. I need you to look out for that. Got it. It's an easy win. And an easy win means an easy rehire. It means an easy share. So what happens in this industry, and maybe a lot of people may not share this with you, is when you have a good person on set, a good videographer, a good BTS person, good production assistant, good makeup artist, what have you, this industry runs in little circles. I have my circle of people. I help them, they help me, we look out for one another. So if I have someone good, or if I have someone bad, I'm going to let my circle know. The recipe is really, really important. But when I said at the beginning of this, you gotta give me like 4 seconds. What I mean by that is this. I'm human. I'm in my headspace. I'm managing a whole lot on set. So if you were to work for me and you're like, hi, Walid, what would a recipe for success be for you? The first second I'd be like, what? What? What, are you for real asking me this question? Second, number 2 is I kind of look at you and I'm like, but now it's in like not internalized, it's coming out and I'm like, did anyone else hear this? The third second, I'm questioning myself again and I'm like, is this guy for real? You just wasted my time asking me this question. You should know. But then by the fourth second, just being super transparent with you, by the fourth second, I'm like, yo, that was really brave. Good for them, actually. Good for them for saying, what does success look like to you? But I remember when I was brand new and I was that go-getter type. I still am, but at the beginner level. So what I'm going to do now is say this. Hey, I love that question. Give me a second. I have to finish something. And then I'll pull you aside for a second. I'll give you some advice. But thank you so much. Right now, we have to see if you could like do something and then guide them somewhere. The third tip that you need to know, and this is like the tough one because the second one I was like, you need to ask exactly what the recipe is. The third tip is I need you to read the room. I need you to read my mind, and it's the toughest one. Stay close, but far. And what I mean by that is stay close enough that if I go like this, I'm not hitting you. And I'm not going to hit you on set, but you know what I mean? Or even off set. But you know when you're standing in line at the ATM and someone doesn't understand that one arm distance rule and you're like, I need you to back off because I'm dealing with money right now. You're too close. Or you know someone is staring at you and you can feel that hole being burnt on the side of your head. I can feel you. So stay far enough. That way, when you stay far enough, you're not hearing private conversations. You're not intruding in my personal space because I'm creating on set and I'm running a whole set. But you're also not too far where I have to yell your name and be like, where is whatever, whoever I need at that moment. So the smartest ones are going to stay about 10 feet away, maybe. They could still understand what's happening. They could still read my mind. They could still figure things out. But they're going to be able to look for social cues. Now, here's something that I do if you work with me on set or if you know me personally. If I'm thinking about something, I'm doing a strategic move, I'm going to do a 180. Sometimes I will speak first without really forming the thought, and then I'll stop myself. So I'll be like this. Hey, John, can you, I'll kind of pause and I'll catch myself like, no. Think of the whole thought and then ask John what you need. So you can look for that and go, oh, when Walid kind of looks up, when he opens his mouth a little bit and then pauses. So if I do that kind of a gesture, then you're like, oh, he's gonna need something. And you're like, yes, it's just how it works. The next person that you work with is gonna be different. So stay close enough so you can study the landscape and the temperature and the personalities of the set, but far enough where you're not intruding on personal conversation and personal space where we're creating. You're probably watching this because you want to work on set, because you probably want to be the director or the cinematographer, videographer, or filmmaker. The thing is that you will get there, especially if you follow this channel. But when you get there, how much are you going to be charging? How are you going to be charging? What's your starting point? And then how are you going to start bumping up your rate, and where are you going to pull away from, where you're going to add to, and everything. When you're doing that, you need guidance. And I have a course. It is called Step Pricing. It's my pricing methodology. It's what I used in the beginning and what I kept elevating and making better. And I still use it to this day. It's like the tiniest of investment for the massive, massive change in your profession and then in your life. STEP, by the way, stands for Secret to Easy Photography Pricing. It's linked right down below. Now let's go to point number 4. Point number 4 is very related to point number 3. Stay in your lane. And I'll tell you how I got hired with Usher because of someone not staying in their lane. For example, and not to say that you're going to do this, but many people do, refrain from giving any creative advice on anything. That's my job as the photographer. That's the makeup artist's job as a makeup artist or wardrobe stylist or art director, depending on whatever position. Don't give ideas. There's a reason why this is in place. There's a reason why we have this mood board. There is a reason why we're all here on set, why you're hired and why the next person is hired. We've had to negotiate money. We've had to negotiate time, creativity. We've even had to negotiate who we're going to hire, who's not going to be hired, and then just everything A to Z. When you insert your creative idea, you don't have that experience to back it up, nor do you have the authority, the social and the professional authority to back it up and to even contribute. It sounds really harsh, but I'd rather be the harsh one because I care about you than you being surprised and humiliated on set. But I will say this, on my set, if depending on how you do it, if you give a creative idea, the first thing I'm going to do, and this is considered a warning shot, is, and I've done this several times, is this. Excuse me, are you the director or am I the director? And I will do it in front of everyone. And that is a tip of the iceberg compared to how I've seen other people do it. Some directors, I won't mention their name, and even a couple photographers, they will say, like, they will just scream at you. And everyone on set is staring at you because no one is going to speak up and you're humiliated. And I don't want you going through that. Stay in your lane. I say this with love. I say this holding your hand, okay? Don't suggest to the makeup artist what to do. Don't suggest how to pose. Don't suggest lighting. That's gaffer, lighting assistant, or my job. Don't suggest anything. Stay in your lane. Know why you're hired. There's so many reasons for this if you're wondering why. Ego is the first one, let's be honest. For me to be the director or the photographer, I had to have gone through hell and back to get here. I know what I'm doing. I negotiated everything, start to finish. When you suggest a creative idea, you're throwing a wrench in the whole machine. Your suggestion might be well received by the client, and they're like, I love that idea. Guess what? You just cost me an extra $3,000 in overtime because now I have to listen to your idea. I'm never going to hire you again. I have to perform for my client. I can't say, no, we can't do that. So now I have to eat into my profits because you had a great idea. Don't do that, please. Okay? It's just the way the game works. I'm teaching you the game. And I just want to say that I have walked people off set politely and firmly. Please don't come back. I literally will walk beside you and say, I need you to leave now. Or I'll ask my producer, okay? It's a really serious thing. Don't make that mistake. Be the person that gets hired again and again and again and again. So you can buy me drinks when you see me out in public. All right, point number 5. You want to thank everyone. I know that you will. I know that you're going to do this. But for whatever reason, a lot of people don't do this. And for whatever reason, creatives are not often thanked. Thank you so much, everybody. So here's what you're just going to say. Hey, thanks so much for teaching me how to blank, whatever that was, whatever they helped you with. And then you're going to say, I'm going to remember that. It's so simple. Not to say you're not going to do this, but seriously, creatives aren't often thanked. They're forgotten. And because of today's chaos, because of everything, you're going to do so well. Like what should be here, this bar, is suddenly like a welcome home parade for a hero. Just thank people, remember their name, do it to 3 to 4 people. You are so golden. Point number 6, the final one before I tell you you're going to work with me, is this will never happen again. You will never be on set again as a newbie. You will never have your first music video, your first fashion shoot. You'll never be on that location for the first time. We're also not like curing world hunger. We're not curing war crimes. We're creating beautiful imagery. Remind yourself, pull yourself aside for 3-4 seconds and be like, this is cool. This is what I always wanted. This is so cool. There's such a good vibe here. Because first times are just exactly that. First time, one time, and then you're done. Congratulate yourself on getting there and going, yo, this is like seriously what I've been dreaming of. By the way, how did our friend that subscribed to this channel and wrote this message, how does she do? She wrote back, which made me so happy, okay? So I was curious. I was nervous for her. I was very nervous for her because she's brand new and I want her to do well. So here is a screen capture of what she said. And then I'll just read it to you. Hey Walid, I just wanted to thank you once more for your time and for the very valuable insights and tips. My first day on set was a wonderful, yes, and great atmosphere. Very professional, what we want. Also somewhat easygoing vibes, also what we want. It was lovely. I made use of your advice and I mentioned to the first assistant the things you suggested, and I could tell he was very happy to hear all that. This is so good for my ego, y'all. It meant a lot to me. That was my own insertion. This is really good for my ego. It meant a lot to me that you took the time to write such an extensive and sweet message. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm so glad to know you virtually and can make use of all your expertise through your YouTube videos and course. She's also a member of my step pricing course. Best regards from Zurich, Switzerland. I actually didn't know where she was from until I saw that. So that's really cool. And I hope I get to meet you in person one day. Now, let's say you're in the Southern California area and you're like, I want to work with you. How would you do that? Okay. Do you do behind the scenes photography? Do you do behind the scenes videography? Are you a production assistant? I'm always hiring for those. And the reason for those three in particular is because, and by the way, real fast, when I say behind the scenes photography and video, I'm not a camera picky person. I'm picky on the person holding the camera because you can make great footage with anything. It's how you work, how your eyes sees. That's what I hire for. If you want to be a production assistant or any of those positions that I mentioned, the reason why I refresh those people often is because they move up the ranks and I refer them to my network. So I'm always in need of new production assistants, and why not support the community that supports me? So here's how you do that. Follow me on Instagram. That's right here. Follow the Instagram stories, and from time to time, if I need somebody, I will post that there. Follow my Substack. Okay, that's linked down below in the show notes too. Sometimes I'll write about an upcoming job. I'll write about the process. And I might even mention in there, and by the way, I'm looking for 3 production assistants for this job. So if you're interested, DM me on Instagram. That's also linked down below. That's how I hire. So I hope this helped you. My work is at walidazami.com. I have a lot more to teach you if you wish to follow. Thank you.